Here we go. Just got the draft done. Exciting day. Longest draft we've had yet of a magical 4 days, basically. Super long draft for our slow draft, but we got through it. Got 9 guys this season. A lot of close teams. Welcome. We got Ryan and AJ. AJ's here for the first time ever. We've only ever asked him every time. He's here for season 4. Hasn't won a playoff game yet, or a playoff match yet.
That's a fair assessment.
That is him. He is here at AJ Baby on YouTube. Go ahead and
I
check him
think it's
out.
worth mentioning he's
Jokes.
also the reigning champ.
That's true. I was getting there. Ryan, back from his previous win season, got one under the belt in the rematch versus Ian. A couple of big titans of the game in those two guys there. Really exciting stuff last season. Ryan, first things first here for you. You didn't get to draft Sun this season because it is not good. So your team looks a little bit different than normal, I would say.
Thank you. I walked into this saying I'm not going to draft any Pokemon I've drafted before, and I finished just like that.
AJ, did you and Mir have any repeats here in previous seasons or no?
Uh, I don't
Did
believe
did,
so.
did you
I was
hit
really thinking about
did you hit like Frostlass in like season 1 or something?
no.
No.
I don't think so.
I think
No,
we're
'cause
I think we're
I was going to. And
yeah. I think across the board here it's pretty. Austin's had Fraligator. Obviously Jackson is new. Riley has not had anything outside of the other form of Enamorus, I believe.
True,
I
true, true.
I'm nothing new. Ian, I believe, yeah, he's got Bisharp back. That's a goat right there.
Mhm.
Keegan has got Swampert back. I think it was his best Pokemon last season, so it's a pretty strong return. I know that was the ground type I was most hoping to get
I was
in this.
if you wouldn't have picked it there, I would have. So
Yep,
that was
so
easy.
it's contested for sure. And Noah has Slowking instead of Galarian Slowking from previous gen, but outside of, and P2, he had P2 last season, which looks maybe even better in this season. But here we go. Um, we kind of preluded to it a little bit earlier, alluded to it rather a little bit earlier there. Ryan's team. What do we think about this, Ryan? How about you start it off? What do you think about your team? Obviously, it's not exactly what you were expecting.
Yeah, for sure. So are we gonna like go one by one?
Yeah,
Like
we'll just you, me,
timeline?
you, me, and AJ first here.
Okay. Yeah, I've been saying this. My first three picks were exactly what I planned. I wanted those three Pokemon. Along the way, a lot of Pokemon were taken within those first 2 rounds that I wanted, and then I just changed everything. So only those first three picks were the only Pokemon I ended up having that I was planning on getting. So ended up changing a lot, that's for sure. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. It'll be a new season. I'm not around Sun. Sun is very easy to plan around. Sun Setter, strong photosynthesis Pokemon, chlorophyll Pokemon, and some random Pokemon here or there that look good into other people's teams.
Right.
I think this season I'll be happy that I feel like I can bring any Pokemon for each
I
matchup
think that's
instead of
gonna
maybe
be
like
pretty across the board. I feel like for
that's
sure.
true. That is true as well. But I do think that this year I feel like I don't have like I felt constricted at times when planning. I was just like, well, why would I not bring gouging fire,
of
walking
of
wave
course.
tackle every single week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then I have 3 out of my 9 Pokemon that I can actually choose from that'll be different. So I think this time that'll be nice and different. Petrant was my first pick overall.
Picked weeks
Wanted a
ago.
Pokemon. Yep,
Yeah.
6 weeks ago, right when I drafted. I wanted a Pokemon real bad. Um, I think I wish I didn't take first pick because I don't think a lot of people would have taken this Pokemon, especially with the change from one. But I just decided to say go for it.
I think
And
you fucked yourself in your second and third pick, man. I don't think Petrarunt is the one at fault here. Maybe that's my opinion on it, but it seemed to be across the board of people I've asked that Klotzer probably could have sat, and people in I don't know if AJ if your opinion of it is, but I'm not that high on Torterra.
I think Torterra's fine. I mean, obviously a lot worse now that. Well, it was Terra. What, 2 seasons ago? Is that what it was? Two?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
2 seasons it was Terra. But either way, it's still a shell smasher. It still can, set rocks and stuff. So
hmm
it's okay, but it's
Yeah,
not like
I do
I
like
would have
that
taken
you.
second.
No, I'm. That's basically what I'm getting. I think the Pokemon is good. I like that it's gonna be defensive most weeks, but you do have to always keep in the back of your mind. Look out, this thing can shell smash on you, and end it right then and there. Let's see. Next up, I am in the order here of the rows and whatnot. What do you guys think about my team? My team is super different, I think, than what I've drafted in other seasons, maybe.
Yeah, your team's really. It was really hard for me to like rate or like rank.
Yeah,
I need to see how you play it. I think before I can.
sure. So at least what
It's a
I've
really weird
the
team.
the
Not like
the
no mixing
concept
too
in
much.
my brain has been like a slow burn is what I intend to get wins with here.
That's what it
I
seems like.
I have a lot of pivoting around, a lot of good sustain on my
Double glare.
on my Pokemon. Yeah, double glare. So that's kind of like my when I started planning my draft, I had a few like cores in mind, right? I
Mhm.
had Superior plus Sandaconda double glare, and then to add on to that, I wanted Haunter specifically, but I was willing to get like Chandelure or something else like that, Miss Magius maybe. This Pokemon who has this pretty good speed tier, 95 for Haunter is pretty good in this draft, and he's going to obviously trump anything that's paralyzed at this point. Uh, and then you can run Terra Ghost, Specs, Hex, and just hit every. I'm just trying to set up this big
That's
status,
true.
and then that's kind of my big theme here is like Haunter and excuse me Haunter end game. Lots of stuff to whittle things down without or throughout it and keep my stuff healthy. Mabostiff's a pretty laid up pick there that I like a lot. Of Pokemon that I was really excited about drafting and then eventually switched it out from my plan, but ended up on it anyways. And I think he'll be like a good breaker mid game, getting stuff soft, letting Haunter clean up at the end is my expectation. I have
Okay.
many ways to pivot, get my Bostif in. He's gonna be my big like Volcanion, my Ursaluna, that type of guy. I think this season where he gets in and he can like get a kill because he almost has Arena Trap in Stake Out. You're not really allowed to switch out
Mhm.
when that thing is on the board because then you're gonna fucking die when he drops a big crunch on somebody's head and it's times two attack. But
I really like it's something I actually found out. I didn't realize what he had on random bats. The retaliate set that you can run.
yeah, the one where you
It's really
deal
really
like
fun.
double damage if they attack you
Yeah.
or something, or
No,
yeah.
it's if you if it's like if your Pokemon died on your team the previous turn, so then
Oh,
you bring it in and it's like basically something switches in and dies to retaliate after it kills one of your Pokemon,
oh
or
yeah,
you just
sure.
hit something in front of you really hard.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
really cool. It's
Good
really cool.
tech. I'm looking at it in Showdown right now. It looks
Yeah,
cool.
it's really good.
It looks sick. Oh yeah, so yeah, I mean, holy fuck, right? It's like yeah, so it's like
Hmm.
140 base power or 280. It's like, kind of that's probably girl math, but um,
I get what you're saying though.
but yeah. I mean, but yeah,
Yeah,
that
if somebody switches out, yeah, something's gonna die for
right.
sure. I'm with you there.
Haven't figured out the rest of my Terra cap or my Terra types for him yet. Probably Fairy for one, but
I think your team is super defensive,
yeah.
which you've always talked about, always wanting to do, right? Get your double regenerators
Uh
in
huh.
for
I know.
two turns or flip
This is
turns.
a
This
Zach
is
team.
very much a Zach build, but I don't think you've actually done it before.
I haven't. I haven't.
Right.
I've done like HO a couple times, and this like last season was kind of all over the board. Realistically, didn't really have like a super dedic. I had like little cores of game plans with it, but not like a like dedicated game plan like I have this time of this like slow burn idea almost, in which we're trying to get good chip on stuff, get stuff in range. And then further with the hex with Haunter, Alolan Muck is a premier guy to get poisons on stuff for sure. He's got
Oh yeah,
the poison touch,
poison
poison jab.
poison jab, which is
He's he's really good. The only other thought I had about my draft, kind of something that was getting a little bit struggling in here
mhm.
at the end, was few too many ground weaknesses for my liking, and then at the end with the Mastiff, a couple too many fighting weaknesses for my liking. But so Haunter, unfortunately, is the guy that has to pick up the slack on both of those. Obviously, he's immune to both those things, but he's a little bit spooky to do that because
Yeah, he doesn't.
He's pretty
he's
squishy.
a little bit frail, and if I'm building around killing with him and stuff, I obviously can't afford to lose him
Yeah.
too early to any random stuff. Uh, the most crazy thing that happened in my draft was Garganackle. That was like last night talking with Ian. We were doing colluding with Keegan about what the fuck these tier twos were gonna be because we were the only guys with tier twos left. I was gonna draft Uxie. Obviously, Ian here did end up with it himself, but he pushed me towards Garg. I liked the Sand synergy with Sandaconda. I mean, this thing has got a monster defense stat and a pretty darn good SPDEF stat. And when that SPDEF stat is boosted with the sand, it is pretty crazy, I'm thinking. So bring your covert cloaks. This guy's coming to play. because he
Okay.
is out here. Same with Ryan. Me and Ryan have the Covert Cloak teams here, and Petrarunt plus Garganackle,
Very true.
and then
Very true.
Austin a little bit with Baby Knackle stack over there. But let's see here. I have to kind of change my paw. Okay, here we go. It's just for there you go. I can see AJ's in the corner on my screen. It's just kind of weird with the cameras went out. Okay, so AJ's team here. AJ, what do you think about your team? Is it similar to what you wanted? Mine,
Yeah,
for what it's worth, is very similar also. Yeah.
mine's like pretty close. Like it's the same general idea, not necessarily the same Pokemon, and it's not even. I don't really have a good idea. Like I'm. This is the way I do these drafts. I just draft good Pokemon and think that and hope I can build a good like team each week around it. I tried to get a synergy. I was wanting to go like Misty Terrain, Hitmonlee, like Unburden type stuff. Galarian Weezing would have been really nice just for my team in general.
Right.
Fairy type plus Levitate, because I do have a couple ground weaknesses. But anyway, what issues I've had in the past is I don't draft enough like bulky Pokemon.
Yeah.
I go a lot like pretty offensive.
Mhm.
So I didn't go. So what I decided I wanted to do is basically not full bulk. What I did is like Blastoise, Shaman, Incineroar. They're all like
They're all halfway
they
bulky
they
for
can be a
sure.
threat, but they also are like you can just go full defense.
Mhm.
So I think it's really nice that it's like a middle ground where I didn't have to go like
Raikou almost even too. I mean, Raikou can like CM up and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
obviously doesn't have the innate bulk maybe.
Hitmonlee's got a monster spit F stat actually.
Is that true?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
like
monster spit F
115,
stat.
105, I think.
It's one. Yeah, so like
110.
I just went more
110.
like
Big.
the moderate bulk and threat, so it's like a little bit hard to prep for. Like Blastoise can shell smash in your face, or he can just be a spinner, pivot, flip turn guy.
Hitmonlee does get
And then
fake out. Oh, I'm just seeing that. I'm looking through Hitmonlee
Yeah,
real
I was
quick
gonna,
here.
I was gonna
You
say,
you
normal
you
gem
you
fake
you
out,
you
yes,
do
I
get to
did know
do
that.
the easy unburden, which is really nice. That back to a couple seasons ago for me, Sneasler. Just such a monkey off your back that like
Yeah,
the getting the unburden is such like the
way
issue,
too good.
but like when it's just right off the bat you're free to go, and this thing can basically come in with a double speed stat essentially at the cost of its item, and you not even that because you get like a little bit of chip out of it even with the fake out,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean it thing gets into monster speed tier area.
Yeah, so I went middle bulk. I just thought just like being hard. That's why I liked with like Greninja too. Is
Mhm.
like and that team Azelf Greninja, the team 2 seasons ago. It's
Yeah.
like you don't know what necessarily the Pokemon are gonna do, and I think that's fun. It's annoying for other people, but it's also kind of annoying for me. But anyway,
Right. Hard to
Diplin's
figure out what
great.
the right thing is to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
Diplin has kind of been like
for
almost the talk of the Terra captains here
mhm.
across the board. I know a couple different people were kind of eyeing him up. I was really talking a big game on him. Wasn't something I was intending to draft myself, but you did end up with him, and he is kind of nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like so solid. Like it's gonna do one thing for the most part. I'm sure I could do something crazy with it, but like the sticky hold Eviolite is just so strong with the stats it's already got.
Yeah, it's got crazy
So like
stats.
even though it's gonna be like pretty telegraphed, if I bring in you know what it is, it
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
matter.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a problem. There was one other thing. Oh, another thing was last season. I didn't have a lot of hazards. I had rocks on.
Well, it was a little bit awkward with the Cinderace team, right?
Yeah, true. But I what I realized, and then the season before that, I had a bunch of hazards, and I played around it that way, and I really enjoyed that play style. So I made sure I got a bunch of different
Yeah,
hazards too.
stealth
Got a
rocks
couple rock
are
seeds,
damn good.
got spikes, got toxic spikes.
I know. I have yeah.
Keeping things down is just really strong, and I didn't have a lot of that last season, and I think it kind of hurt. So
Who's all Frostlass, Wheezing, Golurk? I imagine can rock.
yep,
It's that I imagine. Frostlass,
there
Golurk,
was
Wheezing.
yeah something like that. Yeah, but I got options. Like I only had
Blastoise
rocks
not
on
getting
one
rocks?
guy,
I feel like
so
I feel
it's
like
nice.
no.
But
I
yeah,
don't know.
so all
Cool.
good. It should be interesting if I can play well.
Yeah. We got. It's gonna be. We said it last season as well. A tight season, I'm thinking, and it was. It seems like it keeps kind of increasing in play level for sure, which is gonna make it tighter. And then the teams, the discrepancy between the best and the worst teams is fading in each draft that we do. I think here. Um, let's see. I'm AJ stuff's a little cut off here. I wish I could do
I was
something
gonna say,
do something
just
about
looking
that.
at AJ's team, I kind of agree with him. Like some of these teams, you can kind of look like yours, Zach. You have a very similar idea, very tanky people, slowly whittle people down, bring in your 2 or 3 kind of last ditch. I'm gonna kill you all now, like sweepers. And for me, AJ's is kind of like the one where it's just like nothing really like super fits together, but I think they're all really good
We've heard this fucking story
Classic.
before.
Classic.
This is exactly what we were just saying a second ago when we did our power rankings, and we were like, oh, look at all these good synergies. On AJ's team, he's just got good Pokemon. So,
That's how I draft though. That's how I felt like I've gone for it. It's like I just like drafting Pokemon I think are good
right.
and then making it and then figuring
It's
out
like
as
the
you go.
exact opposite of me.
Yeah.
I,
But one thing I would like to say too, I think another thing I like is like Blastoise, Shaman, Raikou, just the Frostlass being special or physical.
right.
hmm
Like they're all you. It's so
No,
nice having that option.
Ryan's been almost the master of that, I think, in showing these mixed sets or like one or the other that it's kind of a mystery which one it's going to be. I've been consistently impressed when it's like this big curveball that you have to prepare for each week. That
But Blaziken, so bad, so bad.
yeah, Blaziken is nice to fire off. Overheats and close combats is always really nice. Um, so we'll see here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Okay, so let's go with people's power rankings here.
All right. Let's hear it.
Um, let's start at. I think we're on the same page with 9.
Yep. Yep.
Obviously the newest guy to draft league here, Jackson is here. Had a bit of a rough go with not maybe exactly understanding all the tiers perfectly, but I think he ended up with a pretty reasonable team still. He had this like glaring weakness at the beginning that was, man, Earthquake is a pretty good click into a lot of the team, and then he picked like 3 Pokemon in a row that can deal with it, and almost 4 with Servine with the resist. But obviously Guizing can levitate on it, but outside of that, it is weak to it, so it is another problem. Orthworm, immunity, great, and then Driftbloom is a flying type, right? So that's great. I thought that a big miss out of him that Jack had pointed out during the draft was like Mana Buzz, a Pokemon that Ryan had ended up here
Absolutely.
with, was like premium Okie
That should have
dokie
been his third
synergy.
pick.
It
That
seemed
should have been his
crazy.
third
I,
pick.
I, I think it's halfway similar. It's obviously a lot worse. Orthworm's tier 4, Mana Buzz is tier 2. I think Orthworm did a decent stand-in job here. Of obviously it still has the ground immunity and even a better one at that, right? You get the big healing from it and whatnot.
hmm
And then the steel does resist the psychic. Obviously his Spadef stat is not excellent, so it might hit like a regular move almost because it's not very tanky on
It's
that
bad.
on that side. Yeah, I would say that it's bad. But I think for not drifting Mana Buzz, it was a pretty decent pick at the end. He's got the slowest team ever drafted. That's going to be our big issue here. I heard a baffling number, I believe, earlier today that his
The
fastest
fastest
Pokemon is
Servine.
Servine, the tier
Tier 3
5
version.
NFE
Right.
Pokemon. It's
Yeah.
like absolutely what in the world? He does have the best Trick Room setter in the format in Hatterene, a championship Pokemon with Trick Room. Um, but man, I think he's got a lot of heavy lifting to do, and especially because Hatterene wants to spend the turns out in Trick Room itself too. Man, it's it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not just like an in and out kind of guy either. So I think that's going to be his biggest problem in the draft. Easily, he's got a couple of ways to maneuver around it. So the Trick Room, Serena can boost, Scrafty can boost, but they're not. Those aren't easy boosts to get. Driftbloom can unburden, which is nice, but man, across the board, I think it's not going to be too easy of a task here for him to get out of this big speed hole that he's dug himself into.
Yeah. Two things I had him at last was number one, his speed tier. We were talking last night. I was like, your team's pretty slow, and this was after 4 picks, 5 picks, I think.
Yeah,
I think it was 5 after Serena. I was like, your team's really slow. You got to start picking up Pokemon. It's like, oh no, Serena, fast
I
Pokemon.
think Serena's
And I'm
really
like,
good for what it's worth. I think the
I
Pokemon
do
is
like
excellent, but
Pokemon.
obviously
and Serena
the
is a
speed.
fast Pokemon. I but yeah, so I think that that's gonna be a big trouble where everybody's gonna be able to outspeed him. Obviously, he could bring the Trick Room. Hatterene has it. Does Armarouge potentially
I
get it?
I
Like
I,
I've
I
most
haven't
psychic types
looked
do.
at this yet, but yeah, no, I never actually checked on.
Armarouge does get it.
Okay, that's
I
good.
know Guizing does not.
Nope, I had him last season. Does not. I know that.
I bet
I
Calyrex
My
does.
my
Calyrex might.
only
It's got every psychic move in existence, so that would help a lot
yeah
for sure. Well, I'll take a little look ski here.
does have Trick Room as well. So he's got a
Salazzle locked in, by the
few.
way.
Okay, Salazzle locked in.
There you
There you
go.
go. Austin has made the correct choice, I think, at least in picking Salazzle. It's the Dipple encounter, of course. AJ required to bring Ability Shield that week.
Oh, he took it out.
Ah,
Oh man, what's happening?
This guy's such a baiter. All right, I'm just gonna ignore.
It's an-
Okay, there you go. I'm ignoring him. He's being ridiculous. AJ, do you also have Jackson at 9?
Yep.
Yeah.
Also at 9, same reason.
Same reason. It's the biggest glaring weakness in the draft, I think.
I think Servine is good, but I don't know what Calyrex does. I think it might be a bad
Nothing
Terra
mainly, I think.
So I think
Those
his
grass
Terra
like
captains
moves
might
pretty
be a
well.
little weak.
I think Servine's a pretty good one for what it's worth. Obviously, the guy who drafted Superior might have a bias on that, but
Yeah.
I like Servine at least myself.
I don't think it's a bad one,
Terra
but
Fire on Calyrex to cover the grass weakness of Psychic and, or I'm sorry, the steel weakness from Psychic and Grass. Clicking that Terra Fire
That's
to
smart.
do something. I mean, this thing does have okay stats, right? It's 100 and
100
60
HP,
80
80s.
health.
Kind of looking like Glalie, a Pokemon that we really laughed at before.
Wasn't Glalie 80 throughout, or is Glalie also 100?
it's 100, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's 80 throughout. But I mean, 20 HP.
Either
so
way.
it's not much big of a difference.
I can't even
Yeah,
spell Glalie.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know anything about this Pokemon, that's for sure.
Might not be one that shows up too much. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. What do you guys have at 8? I think it already starts to get controversial, right?
It's so hard.
So I have Riley. What do you guys have?
I have Riley.
I have Riley at 7, so let's talk about Riley.
Okay, sounds good. Riley's team in classic Riley fashion, I think, is he drafted a couple Pokemon that he likes, and maybe it's not the best synergy. I'm thinking. I liked the beginning of his draft a lot. I liked how he picked up Bramblegast when he was looking at maybe Serena. I think Bramblegast is a highlight of the draft as well
Sick
as
Pokemon.
Espeon and Muck maybe, and he drafted a Pokemon that I'm really pretty low on at this point in Cincino, Pokemon that Ryan had last season, and was really contested and didn't really do a lot of performing, honestly. And especially without being able to Terra.
No Terra. Yeah.
No Terra. I think this Pokemon could be hysterically bad. I don't know. He wanted it last season. I imagine that's where a lot of the picking came from. But I do. The highlight of Riley's draft here, I think, was picking up for his Stealth Rock weakness into when in the first 4 picks were Entei and Amorous Kilowattrel, right? He picked a lot of Pokemon in a row that can deal with that at least, right? Bramblegast, Cincino, Espeon, all are going to help alleviate that problem, which is nice. But outside of that, I did the only other person of the tier that the draft rather that I've looked at their speed tiers. Riley actually ended up with pretty good, darn good speed tiers here. He's got a bit of a gap. I don't remember exactly where, in maybe like I think it was like 85 to like 60 or something like that. But outside of that, I really liked his speed tiers. He did a good job on that. I just think that I'm really unimpressed with his threes. I think is a lot of where I don't like his draft. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. I was gonna say I had Riley a little bit higher exclusively because I think some of his Pokemon are like pretty good.
I think Mux is like a
Entei-
premier
yeah,
Terra captain for.
I think Entei is gonna be great. I think Melodic's gonna be really good. I
Yep.
think Kilowattrel's gonna be pretty good. No clue about an Amorous T, but you're right. Like all of that was the weakness
Mhm.
to rocks, and he did cover that well. I think Cincino. I mean, I had it. I was able to Terra it, but
Yeah.
any steel type walls it. That's the issue. If you have a steel type, if you have somebody that can put a Rocky helmet on and say it's a good old day, Cincino's not gonna be doing much except click and knock off once, right? Um, so I do think that Pokemon's pretty useless. I think Quagsire, while
Quote him.
good,
Didn't even say Shire.
I did
You
say
fucking punk.
correctly. I think that Pokemon is just bad. I don't know. Like, a lot of Pokemon get grass moves. The stats are awful. It's not tanky. Like,
I really like. I was really trying to push these other ground types in tier 4 when this pick was
Yeah,
happening.
Shire is not
It was Sandy Gas and Piloswine is what I was pushing for specifically. That didn't end up getting drafted. I thought Quasar was weaker of the two, and he doesn't even need
water.
the water absorb, right? One of the key things about this thing, it's so bad. Like Bramblegast, Milotic, and Duraludon. It's like
It's
it's
an unaware bot basically at this point.
yeah. I agree. Does it get toxic anymore or no? It's laughable if it doesn't
Oh,
get
it's
toxic. By the way,
I think it does. I'm pretty sure.
I would bet
it
a lot of
does. But it just dies to most things, right? Like
does get toxic.
water ground is a good typing, but
I had never even.
God, his
I
stats
hadn't actually
all
looked at
his
this thing's
stats.
stats before. I didn't realize they were so egregious.
it's like 430 base stats. It's not good.
Does get toxic.
And then
I will
and they're in
say,
like the bad spots too.
It does have damp.
good hazard setters. Good hazard setter has every
Mhm.
hazard known to man, which is
Yep.
always a nice thing to have. So I will give it that. That's a good thing.
If you know,
And
you know.
unaware is a good ability. I'm not gonna like dog on unaware.
Hmm.
It can
It's true, but man,
situationally.
if he's unaware of regular stats, man, I don't know.
Sucks.
I don't know if he gets there on that.
I
Uh,
agree.
Ryan, what do you have at 8? Just before we continue here.
I
You
have
yourself?
Austin.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Huge
Wow.
change from me, by the way.
Me too, by the way.
I have Austin super high. Can you let's do a quick juice on you, and we'll cycle back to Austin once we get to AJ and me's area.
So when I choose, what I'm saying is my final order, right? Like end of the season, who's gonna finish where?
Oh, okay. Totally different.
Oh, that's
Totally.
so different.
I think AJ and me did draft. Who
Yeah,
drafted
just
the best?
draft. Yeah.
Who drafted the
Yeah,
best? Okay,
the
well
best looking team, of
I
course.
had all right. I had Riley at 7 still. 8 I had myself.
Okay, there we
Go
go.
ahead.
I have you at 7. AJ, who do you have 7?
I have Ryan at 7.
There
Pretty.
we go.
So far we're doing pretty good here.
Yeah.
Let's stick to this list. Stick to this list. Ryan, let's get in depth about your team that isn't at all what you were preparing to draft.
Exactly. That was basically it. It was not what I wanted in the slightest. I went into it saying I wanted two things: to not pick a Pokemon I picked before, and number two, pick the Pokemon that I really wanted to pick.
Right.
Pokemon I really wanted to pick: Slowking, drafted before I could get it. Blaziken, probably should have taken it at the 2-3 turn, right? People are gonna talk about my 2-3 turn.
Nah, it already got talked about.
Yeah, it already got talked about. I mean, other things. Galvantula, I wanted, was one of the Pokemon. I mean, I really built my team to set up these slower Pokemon like Clawitzer and Blaziken
Mhm.
that can be wall breakers for success. I had a Terra Captain that Meowstic that was
I love
undrafted
Meowstic.
that was gonna set up screens super well with Prankster, five Terra or a 5 point Terra Captain that can set up screens super easily.
Mhm.
It has a fairy move to click Terra Fairy and the Dark type switching into it. Whatever, right? I had a very confident way of setting up those two Pokemon I really wanted to pick, Clawitzer and Blaziken, with these sticky webs to slow people down and set up in front of screens and just kill people. That was like my whole game plan with this team, and it just didn't happen. So then when that happened, I was just like, all right, well, what am I actually gonna do? And I just like kind of went with Pokemon that I was just like, I think I was too much in my head about like trying to get the type coverages, trying to go back to kind of what I wanted to do, and just it just didn't work, right? The main Pokemon that I want, like Slowking, I built a lot of my team off of like being able to set the snow, um, and stuff like that
Mm.
too. So it was just bad. And then I got to the 2-3 turn where Slowking was gone, and I was just like, nobody has been
We'll
talking
just
about Blaziken.
we'll skip in
Everybody hates
line.
that Pokemon. I'm gonna get it next. Obviously, that didn't happen. Ground types are going relatively fast. There wasn't a lot of premier ones. I thought the Torterra was like a top 3, top 4 of the grounds, like next to Krook and Donphan. I think Torterra personally was 3 for me. I think you can also have what's the horse?
I have it. Mudsdale is like a Mudsdale undrafted is criminal for one.
Yeah.
I had it a little bit lower, Ryan. I know at least just based off the
Swampert's pretty
tiers
good.
alone, I think Swampert is certainly better than
I
it.
thought Swampert was
It's
3.
because
Yeah. And then
there's
Torterra was
3
4.
ground types in the first 2 tiers, and then you get into the tier 3, which is going to start being opinionated on ground types.
Yeah.
But
So those
so
two ground
it is up there.
that is why I took Torterra. Was the ground type I really wanted. I love Torterra, Turtwig,
Hmm.
and Tweet slash Torchic, right? Sucker for those Pokemon, and that was my main thing. Was I wanted to pick Pokemon I really liked, and Torterra was one of them. Hence why I picked it. Clawitzer, I
Hmm.
was really surprised about people's lack of taking Terra Captains early. I thought there were a couple premier ones that fell really far. Like I thought Bombirdier was one of the best that went to the second to last pick
I agree.
technically.
I agree.
I thought that the Alolan Executor was the third best. Didn't even get drafted.
I thought that would have
And
been a much better pick over Calyrex.
I
That's what I thought he should have drafted
Oh
over
yeah.
that. It would have been a Trick Room Setter. Pretty similar-esque typing here. Doesn't have a Dragon type. Has access to Psychic already. I thought that's what he should have drafted there.
But yeah, so I mean, I think that was the main thing. Was like I wanted to pick Pokemon I wanted to play. That didn't end up happening. I tried switching it around and making like a decent team, and I fell into the Riley slash AJ cycle of picking Pokemon I thought were too good
Stray.
with my team, and I didn't. Well, I think it's worse, right? I think those two people have better Pokemon than me. The positive outlook that I'm telling myself is I can do whatever I want. I can surprise people. I've been pretty one-dimensional with my Sun teams, which have been always really nice because
Hmm.
obviously Sun is good, especially with those strong photosynthesis Pokemon. Um, and it's easy for me to have like a theme,
Right.
which I think in past people with themes end up going farther in playoffs and doing well. Um, but I don't have one. So that's why I have myself lower. I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna make playoffs. I think I'm a good player in Pokemon.
Right.
Hence why I had myself in the final order at 5/6.
It'd be a fall from grace from winning to not making playoffs next season.
I think
Do
my
do.
original team, if I got
Ah, ah,
Snake
ah.
King,
That would have been
sorry.
insane.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I was gonna say I think my original team was really good. It was the Pokemon I wanted to play.
I
It
believe you.
had a theme, but obviously a lot of other people thought Pokemon were good. So
Right. So obviously people
No.
agreed with your theme, right? AJ, what are you gonna say?
mhm.
Uh, it's less so, I guess, about his team. More so about Ryan. One, I think your team's like at this like most of these teams are pretty
Most teams are
similar.
pretty fun.
So like
This was
being
all
at
yeah.
7 is not like you're like so much worse than like it's
I
like
agree.
it's hard to rank. But I will say it did seem like you kind of fell off what you were going for, and it kind of just jumbled your
I
team together
I think Ryan
a little
drafted on
bit.
hard mode, like out of the
Out of the get,
universe.
yeah.
Like we had more time to draft for sure in this, but when you're thrown upside down on this, it certainly is gonna be anybody's
Yeah,
gonna struggle, I think. And
yeah.
excuse me, Ryan maybe got sniped almost the most probably in the draft would be my guess. Obviously,
Early probably, but I think he got sniped
wanting
worse.
Slow King on after this I think was outlandish, and I thought you were never gonna get that Pokemon, and I told you that even, but yeah, the two you mentioned earlier, of course, with Blaziken and Galvantula, those are pretty key pieces. Things I liked about
Hmm.
your draft here at the end, I mean, I think I love that you buckled down and took your medicine and picked Manabuzz. I think that is
Agreed.
something that was maybe a necessary evil. Obviously, you weren't very excited about picking that Pokemon. It's not too interesting. But AJ had it last season, and
It's good. It's really good.
it's really good. It does its job really well. It's gonna succeed for you.
It's gonna piss people off, and
Yeah,
it's gonna
there's a
it's
lot
gonna
of
win you
I think there's
games.
a lot of piss people off Pokemon in this draft, man. Holy fuck.
And the last thing I want to say, I think about my team, I think Petron plus Mandibuzz is going to just exclusively win me games some week.
Yeah,
Those two Pokemon are going to be
those Pokemon are
completely
crazy together.
swapped
Crazy
together.
together.
And then the one thing that those two cover that's not a weakness is like electric,
Hmm.
right? And I have two ground types, and I have Palmot who can run Volt Absorb if I
Oh,
want to.
I didn't even know that. That's really real. I think for sure.
Yep. So I have three electric immunities on my team with my two waters and flying type.
Yeah.
So I like I did I feel like I did a lot of thinking about what I think would work with this team, at least trying to find the offensive things and defensive things that would work. And I do think Petrarunt, Mandibuzz, and Empoleon exclusively, those three are going to be great together.
Right.
And then being able, all of those have ways, they're relatively slow, mid-speed characters that have a passing ability and U-turn, um,
Flip turn
flip
and
turn, and
parting shot.
then party shot, right? I think that's going to be nice, where my defensive Pokemon have pivots, and I can get into my more offensive ones
I'm
pretty
drunk.
easily. But
So this is nothing to do with your team, but what you mentioned before, you're like, oh, I don't have Sun, I can do whatever I want. I think I'm a good player. It's actually what I haven't seen you play a real Pokemon
Right.
team in so long. So like, can you
It's gonna be
really
it's gonna be skill testing. Ryan's
skill
gonna
test
it's gonna
for
be
sure?
getting thrown into the fire
It's a
here
skill test,
for sure.
and it's not like I don't think you can do it. I'm just curious to see how it goes.
Obviously Ryan did not bring Sun teams every week in these previous seasons,
Yeah.
and he did succeed with those. But yeah, when you never get that to fall back on, where if you don't know what to do, you can just be like, gouging fire, go. Um, like it might be a little tougher. So we'll see about that. What do you guys have next at the sixth slot?
I have Noah.
I also have Noah.
Have
I think
Austin.
we have
Okay,
the same rankings right now.
so far, right? You're Jackson, Riley, Ryan, Noah.
Yeah.
AJ, we're on
Excellent.
we're, we're on
Right.
theme here. Okay, so
Well, it's not gonna stay, but
it ain't gonna stay. I have Austin a good bit higher. We'll talk about Noah because two of us are here. Ryan's gonna keep getting excluded on the AJ and me agenda, I guess. Um, Noah's team. I don't know. Did he draft any good Pokemon? Jokes, but that's how I felt like in my gut check though, kind of honestly. He's got a couple of like these really Mr. Consistent Pokemon in my book here that of
yeah.
Slowking, Donphan, Hisuian Gudra, and I think those Rabambi also are like obviously those are like his upper picks, right? But so they're gonna be the best. But man, I don't know. I love Yan Mega. It doesn't get to Terra. We'll see about him. P2's really good. Was really good last season. He's legit. Rotom fan. I saw him succeed in the SPL with Terra. Decidueye is not a Pokemon that I'm too impressed with myself. Houndoom looked really good into when Ryan and you were just playing kind of like a funsies, or him and Ryan rather were playing like a funsies match yesterday, so that's
With
cool.
no fire weakness, or with no fire resist, I'm pretty
Fair,
sure.
yeah, that's
So
true. We were only doing the first six Pokemon they had drafted, so that is a big deal for sure. Obviously, Ryan has since picked up and Dugtrio. Where's your fire resist, Ryan?
Delphox.
Delphox.
Doug Trio,
Don't
not a fire
don't have a
resist.
good one.
Oh, is that
Is
I'm well. There you go. Well, there you go. Well, there you go. So, ha,
Delphox
ha,
does have high special defense,
enter
but
Houndoom week for
it
sure.
has okay ball
Yeah,
for being like
it's
fast.
it's gonna get dark moved unfortunately that week. Right, but yeah, so Noah's team here, he is a man who classically doesn't do the most prep, and it tends to show in a lot of these drafts, I think. I think he does a good job of kind of keeping it good on the fly and making stuff happen, but I I see like no
Honestly,
synergy almost, but go on.
what I think is he seems like just based off a lot of his like the Pokemon that I deem pretty good
I agree.
are a bit more like Gudra, Donphan, Slowking, really bulky, really like I know Gudra can hit, but like he seems like a team gonna be more like yours where it's gonna whittle people down
Yeah.
and then maybe hit. And I just think he doesn't do it as well as your team does it.
Hmm.
So that's kind of it's like I don't see like a true like Phalanx is like a threat I guess, but like
Yeah.
I know what Phalanx is gonna do probably.
It's gonna click no. It's gonna Terra and it's gonna click no retreat,
It's
and
gonna yeah, it's like
that's what it's
not
gonna
every
do.
time, but like good time. I know what Sawsbuck's gonna do. It has Serene Grace. It's gonna like take
It's gonna body
headbutt
slam, try
or
and
body
fucking
slam.
para
Yeah,
you, and then it's gonna try and headbutt you. I mean,
it's
it's just Jirachi light,
yeah,
which he's had before and didn't do well. That was a season where Noah drafted six Pokemon essentially, but Jirachi did not do well that season.
yeah.
So
So
we'll see.
I think he has like a couple of like really good bulky Pokemon, and that'll save him a lot. Cause he'll be able to pivot nicely. He'll be able to get threats in, but the threats that he's getting in, I'm not really that scared of.
He doesn't have a lot. Like I was saying this yesterday, looking at struggling for water types. I was looking at Slowbro, regular ass Slowbro in tier two a lot. He's gonna have. So he's got all these bulky pivots. He's playing on hard mode though. A lot of us in this draft really prioritize for like our water type specifically, flip turning ones or U turning Pokemon stuff like that. And Noah's team, Donphan, Gudra, two of the Pokemon we're saying are these really
Yeah,
big defensive guys
true.
have to do hard switches.
Hard.
They don't get to play on easy mode. They don't get to click the
Yeah,
using
he
turn.
has to pivot through them.
Yeah. He has to pivot through them to get to into the thing he wants to, which is harder to do. And if you fuck up, it's gonna cost you games, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a big deal. And it's just harder to play in general. I mean, Noah's a damn good player, but
Yeah.
it's harder to play straight up. And I think that is a big deal in my book. So we'll see about that. Ryan, who do you? I'm just curious here before we or
I like to talk
yeah
about Noah's team real quick.
yeah.
So why I had him at 4, right?
Okay, four.
A little
Okay, four. Okay,
higher than you guys.
two. I
I
guess
think
not that.
his first like tier 1, tier 2 picks are amazing. I think Hisui and Gudra is going to be very, very, very hard for people to crack.
I agree. It's been
Only
hard in our
two
top tier leagues.
things.
It's been
Yeah,
hard in our
only
top tier leagues.
two things, and those are ground and fighting. And you look at the ground and fighting types in our league, I don't think there's a lot of good ones
Thank
that are
God for me.
really going to hit hard, right?
The
How
best
else
one.
do we build this thing? It's got iron defense as well, right? It can slap an assault vest on. I think it hits hard as well with that assault vest if you go a more offensive set. I think Hisuian Gudra is absolutely fucking
It's
terrifying.
got acid
I
armor.
think that's going to win leagues by itself. Slowking, probably the best slow pivot ever, right? And Donphan, second best ground type
It's been.
with
I
Rapid
mean,
Spin.
Donphan has been miraculously good in
It's a
all these
freak
seasons.
show.
AJ had it
He
last
has
season.
Ice Shard for some
I
fucking
I
I
reason,
I.
played Don Fan
right?
almost every week, and he was good
It
every
was,
week.
it's good every
Yeah.
week. It's like the definition in this draft, I thought, of consistent Pokemon. It's
Absolutely.
always gonna get rocks up. It's always gonna do damage. It's always gonna get its spin off. It's always gonna do what you want it to do every week. And
And the other thing that I liked about it was I really liked Rabambi because of the sticky webs.
Rami's damn
Obviously,
good.
everybody has a fucking rapid spinner,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have a ghost type, which I think is not smart to do. I mean, he did
He's
have
he,
ghost on
he's got
one of his
he's
cards.
got Terras yet, right? So he'll probably have to do that. I know at least the guy in the Pokemon League did do Terra Ghost Phalanx. Don't know if that was the reason,
Yeah,
of course, but
I also think it'd be good on Sawsbuck as well, because I
it's
think
also a
those
normal type, right? So
two
that'd be nice,
set
yeah.
up his mid-tier Pokemon that are kind
Hmm.
of like in between that 60 to 80 speed extremely well.
Right.
Right, I think Sawsbuck's going to be terrifying, and if you don't have to put a choice scarf on it and hope for like
Flinches and shit, yeah.
flinches over and over again, that's going to be great. Phalanx, I think, is going to be in a similar vein where you might not have to click no retreat. Decidueye is going to hit fucking hard. Oh yeah, Decidueye is ghost type. Are we Yeah, we're stupid.
That'll happen.
Yeah,
Not the
but
Is it the bulkiest Pokemon though? I don't know.
he's not very bulky, but I think he has more synergies than what people
It does
think.
all right for itself, I think actually.
I think Yanmega is not the greatest. Porygon is not the greatest. You have a good fighting type, but I don't think a lot of people do.
I think
So
Porygon is going to be a problem.
Porygon was
That was like a halfway problem in our
a halftime last one,
yeah.
and
And
I'm gonna say, go ahead. Oh, AJ's drinking. One more thing about
he was halfway a problem like in the last one with
yeah,
good Pokemon, and now there's just like way less good Pokemon.
right.
So
I
Rabambi,
got it with a fighting type move
right,
and with like click close combat, and I have that again, so I'm not too scared.
right.
I look at a lot of these teams, and I'm scared.
Three of
Like,
I have me
how
I have
are you gonna break Porygon and Hisuian Gudra?
Mian Chao, the best fighting type Pokemon in the draft. I don't know. It might be that one.
I missed it
But
completely.
I did pick it last. It is my tier one that I picked last. Certainly an oddball choice for me. Mia and Noah picked their tier ones last, so it's hard to notice them. But yes, Mian Chao was a gut check, probably the best fighting type Pokemon. Maybe Blaze Blaze Tauros could contest. I think it's better than Heracross myself. But I certainly thought it was the best one. And Rabambi, I think, is more of a quiver dancer than a Sticky Weber in this draft. By the way, obviously he wants to set himself up, but fuck, 2 seasons ago when Riley had the thing, that thing was a mega threat, dude. Holy cow, it was absolutely ridiculous.
Bring in a steel type.
Okay, I believe you, but I don't think everybody has a really titty steel type on their team.
I guess
I don't have one.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think quiver dancing Rabambi is.
He has two great sets, hence why I don't know. I look at Noah's team; he's a great Pokemon player. Yes, he doesn't prep the most, but I think his team's pretty good. I think it works well, better than what you two are giving it credit for. Yeah, I think some of his I think Rotom Fan was weird. I think Yanmega was weird. I think Yanmega or Houndoom could also be different. 3 out of his 8, but I think those other 8 work together really, really well.
Okay.
And they're scary Pokemon. So.
Okay. And then who'd you say you had at 6, Ryan? You said awesome, but we'll get to that later. Next up, let's see if AJ and me continue here. 5.
We got.
Keegan.
I have myself.
Okay. Ryan.
Zach.
Okay, sure. A little bit all over the board here. Maybe we'll skip and we'll see if we get something. Keegan, top 4 for you guys. That was his question of the day. I did not, but he did get 2 out of 3, so that's pretty good. What do you guys have for 4?
I have Zach.
I have myself, so we'll go with me next.
I mentioned Noah, so.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, so me next. Obviously, I'm 4 for 2 of us and 5 for 1 of us, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So my team here, my team has been seemingly from everybody else, they don't see my vision. I guess I don't know.
I did not.
Uh, it was hard to track throughout the draft, I think, but I don't know. I obviously have myself at 4, which isn't like mega high. It's not like podium finish or anything, but I think it's good. I obviously we one that we talked about a little bit more at the beginning of the video, of course, but I'm here for a long game, something that I'm not used to, so I think that might be the biggest downside of my draft. But I really
You're
like.
willing to commit to things like
I
that.
mean I've drafted Gothitelle and played
Exactly.
hour-long one single games before, so I'm here for it. I PvP stall people. I don't give a fuck. All right. And I really like that I have an overarching game plan. I think in my draft, that's something that I think I succeed with really well in my prep. When I can stick to my game plan, I win, and when I get shoot off of it, I lose, which is of course a big fault. It's really polarizing, but I like that my draft kind of makes it something that I can try to work for every week. It might look a little bit different every week, but I like that I'm giving myself this jumping off point because it's something that when I can figure out the game plan that works, it tends to. So that is my really big point. My draft, I can obviously pull up a little graphic here for myself, which you guys aren't going to see, but I'll talk about it here. Is it looks a little bit different than my initial Pokemon that I had. I drafted, I think, 7 or 8 of the first Pokemon that I wanted to get. The big misses are going to be. Oh, I thought I was going to get. I didn't think I was going to get Haunter. So that was a really nice upgrade, just 1-for-1 straight up. And then my water type, I eventually. I had Milotic originally, but. And then Uxie got switched out. So those are like the 2 big things there that got changed. Both my tier 2s are I'm lost. Are different than what I had intended on drafting, which is not well.
Wait,
Sorry, not tier 2.
not
Sorry,
sure.
a 2 and a 3 rather. I misspoke. Uxie and Milotic were later rather. But Serp of course was super normal. I was hoping to get that the entire time. That is glad that that happened. But didn't get one of the tier 2 or the tier 2 water types. Those went out the window in the draft. That was a crazy part of it. Obviously, I think it started at like what Slowking it looks like, right? Um,
Yeah.
Slowking and then
On the
Swampert,
turn, basically.
Blastoise, Alomomola, not tier 2, but a really fucking good Pokemon for tier 4, like crazy good. Alomomola. I picked Cyclizar because I wanted to ensure my double regenerator with Mienshao later. Milotic, and then that was like all the really good ones out of tier 2. Something that I was super planning on drafting the entire time was like this quality water type out of tier 2. Really happy where I ended up with Vaporeon. I like that Pokemon a lot for my team. My team does a good job healing itself. Serp has got good self healing. Cyclizar does. Mienshao does. Vaporeon can heal itself, obviously. Gar can heal itself. Muck, Sandaconda, Fortress, 3 really good defensive Pokemon. Sandaconda can do rest Shedskin, but outside of that, not reliable recovery. I obviously have to commit an ability to that. And Vaporeon, I might look like Ryan's Umbreon last season with these big wish passes. It's a lot. It doesn't have the toxic pressure, but it's got a much better attacking stat than Umbreon does. So maybe it can kind of work for itself that way. But Garg was the other.
Getting statuses too and having
Yeah,
scald burns are super nice.
right. Yep. That's another good thing. And then Garg was the other big change for me. I was looking at a couple different things. Obviously, I originally thought Milotic, so water type, so I had to switch that up. And then I thought Uxie, and then Ian talked me into Garg instead of Uxie, and then because he wanted Uxie or something. I don't know. It was kind of all over the board on what I was gonna pick there. So who knows what he was really trying to do out of it, if he wanted that, or if he was just giving me good advice. I like it though. I ended up not going with who's the dog ghost with Sandrush? Last
Uh,
Respects guy,
oh
Houndstone.
my God.
Houndstone.
Yeah.
That was on my original board because I wanted to. I kept shit talking. Everybody in these previous seasons was talking about like Sandaconda Sandspit plus Ryan, are you here?
Yeah, I am.
Right.
Okay, your
Absolutely, bro. He Dipland.
your
I think he's talking
video
about
just
me.
turned up. That's fine. Anywho, um Sandaconda plus Sandrusher. I always shit talked it, but I said maybe I'll just try it myself. Who knows? Um, and my shit talk that I thought was bad turned out to be true in my mind because I didn't draft it, which I did. I did get Haunter, which was the ghost that I wanted, which was part of it also, but and I also needed to get Vaporeon then, so it got kind of got shifted around. But I like how my draft ended a lot. I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely not something a style that I've drafted before, but it's one that I think I can succeed with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It was like you started picking, and I was like, this is like a really interesting team. Like I was not seeing the vision at first, and after you explaining it, like I get it. But
It's I mean Haunter. I mean out of all the Terra captains in the draft, maybe outside of like Diplin, we've really talked up Diplin heavy. I think Haunter might have the biggest weight to carry on its shoulders. I really built around this Pokemon heavily
yeah,
because
yeah,
I think it can succeed, and I think it does have the power to do it. I just need to make sure I set it up for success. So we'll see. I'm putting all my eggs in the Haunter basket here, and we'll see if he can make it happen. So I got no idea. Let's see. I had Keegan at 5. Where did you guys have Keegan at? Unless it's really high, don't say it.
I was gonna say I'd love to talk about your team though too.
Oh yeah, Ryan. I didn't notice that you were back yet because you said that you were
I
or
forgot. Yep.
I just thought you were leaving for a second. Go ahead, go off.
I had you at 5 for best teams because I think your team is super defensive, right? You have a theme,
mm-hmm.
which I think is good, right? I think having a theme puts you in that upper echelon. I don't think super defensive teams are that great
Which is something
in
I agree with.
navigation.
Yep, I agree with that.
I think it's so much easier to say, oh my gosh, I can wish past this, I can wish past that, I can all these super tanky Pokemon, right? I think your team would look great if you can bring 9 Pokemon every single week, but you have to bring 6, and you also have to remember the threats that you're going to be playing against and make sure that you have answers for them.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I have you knocked down a couple of tiers, is I feel like it might sound stupid, but like too dependent on each other, right? And then obviously you mentioned this before, your glaring weakness to fighting types. I think that also might come back to haunt you a little bit.
Ryan, were you just talking about how there's no fighting types in the draft? What the fuck?
What
We've got
the
like 3 or 4, okay? But you can still click fighting type moves into you,
I
and you've
understand.
got
Yes.
literal zero resistances, right?
Correct. I
I
know.
don't, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think it's easier said than done with your type of team, where it's just like you talk about Austin's stall teams, where it's like, look at these awesome themes together that like look really good, but you just prep for it and it might be pretty good. I think the good thing about your team is you've got 11 different Pokemon that can do it, compared to Austin's who normally had like 7 or 8, where
Hmm.
it was pretty easy to prep for. And you do have those offensive threats,
I
right?
and it's
definitely,
not
yeah.
literally
We talked about
literally
Definitely can bring like Serp,
Serp,
Cyclozar, Haunters,
Mienshao.
Abstrika, Mastiff, Mienshao, all really offensive Pokemon in like a week or something, if I feel like the matchup calls for it or something.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a lot of defensive Pokemon, and then those offensive Pokemon really have to shine. Like, you only bring like 1 or 2 of them that are like
Yep,
win conditions,
totally.
and I think that's going to be tough. If it makes you feel better, I have you at 3 in the final order. I think you're going to do very well.
See what I can make
You're
it
very
happen.
good at prepping. You're very good at like playing towards these themes. So I have you a lot higher there, but in terms of exclusively teams, I think it's worse than some of the others.
Okay.
thing.
Next up was 4. Obviously, you guys,
Well, no, oh yeah, 'cause I had you at 4.
you had me at 4. I had Keegan at. You said you're 5, didn't you, AJ?
I'm 5. I had myself at 5.
Yeah. Okay, okay. I had you a little bit higher. Ryan, what was your,
Let's go to 3.
what was Ryan's for? What
I
was
had
Ryan's
we
for?
had talked about Jackson. We had talked about me. Talked about Riley. Austin was my 6.
What was
What
your
I
four?
had.
What was your 4?
Noah also talked about.
Fuck me. AJ, where do you have Austin?
3.
We'll talk about Austin. I have Austin at 2.
Fair.
I'm also gonna make a little chart here and with us doing this to get who we've just talked about. But keep going. I'll do that in paper rather. Okay, Austin's team. Somebody else start.
I'll talk because I have him lowest. I think Austin's team is better than mine. My theme was to set up these offensive Pokemon that want sticky webs, and he did it better than me.
Mm,
With Krook,
yeah.
Feraligatr, Galvantula, who's faster, right? And then well now Salazzle, who's like super fast. I think he has those good, really top tier mid like Pokemon for these mid tier speed groups that are gonna like destroy. Um, However, I think he has really no defensive Pokemon or good pivots.
Oh.
Other than like Skeleturge was kind of why I had him a decent a bit lower, and maybe this is also like in my mind I'm thinking Austin is the stall guy who all he's ever had is defensive Pokemon and pivots. I think he's gonna struggle with that, and his team to me I don't think sets him up in success that way. Super offensive, and I think it might get walled by some specific things, or everybody has a rapid spinner, so I don't even think webs are that good, like type of deal. I didn't like the Alolan Golem. I know you talked about that. I don't think Knuckle Stack is that great. I don't think Rotom Frost is that great. Tatsuguri I think is good. Abomasnow, what the hell is that thing doing there? Except setting up like a veil here or there. But it's like really slow. So if you just like have a fire type, you can like kind of prevent that.
Yeah, okay, but like you're always gonna be in against Abomasnow with your fire move when it's trying to
No,
set veil. That's just like not.
I'm
That's
not.
you
I'm
know,
not
like
saying
I get
that.
what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying. But like
I'm not
Abomasnow is
saying
a
that.
pretty
I
reliable
think
setter.
And he's got
I
really
think
good fire move switch-ins. That's the other crazy
yes,
thing.
he does. He
Yes,
does
he
have
does.
good fire move switch-ins. You're not wrong. So I don't know. That was kind of my whole thing. Was I think it's super offensive. I don't think there's enough defensive Pokemon on there. And I think a decent amount of his later half picks didn't make sense to me to where I had him at
The
second.
golems, I don't like the golem for what it's worth.
Yeah.
The
I
golem
think
pick is fun, but I don't
it's
know if
it's fun, but
it's
it's
set up for
I
it.
don't think it's very good. I don't know if it'll be used too much.
Um,
If he's going
really
real,
like
I think Abomasnow's
the
great
utility.
for what
Yeah,
it's
we'll talk about
worth.
Abomasnow first of all. I really like the utility of his team. Salazzle's really annoying.
Yeah,
Its like standard
it
set is
says
just like
the
sub
Diplin
toxic.
player. Look
I
out.
mean that's fine.
I'm
Diplo's
fucking
annoying.
yes, I know. I'm just fucking
You
around.
know, Whimsicott is like crazy annoying. Can be with Prankster. That's also another reliable way you can set up screens for threats like Crocodile and for Alligator and
Correct.
Galvantula.
Like Fraligator behind dual screen sounds ridiculous. I think.
Alligator behind Aurora Veil behind dual
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
screens
saying. That's
with
yeah.
a web setup. It's like I like the
Fra-
way his team is set up. He has enough threats. Crocodile for Alligator. Whimsicott can be a threat. Galvantula can be a threat.
yeah.
Knapsack is a good defensive Pokemon.
Totally.
I will not
The
tolerate.
the entire draft drafted a bulky water type, the exact thing that, especially when you get to Terra Grass, Ryan, you had
Yep.
Terra Grass Garganacl. That thing fucking destroyed everything, dude. I mean, he gets to do that. Obviously, the stats aren't the same, but man, it's gonna beat up on these water types unless
I
you're packing a Covert Cloak.
also think Tatsugiri is incredibly good on this team specifically, and also just an underrated Pokemon, a slept-on
For sure. I know.
Pokemon.
I know you were gonna draft Tatsugiri, right?
Tatsugiri is incredibly good. It won the Storm Drain with Salazzle, Alolan Golem, Knuckle Stack, Skeleturge, Crocodile. That's a lot of things you want to switch. You want to get
Yeah.
a water move on,
Mm-hmm.
and you switch that in. Tatsugiri at +1 probably
Hits.
kills a lot of things with Draco. Also, can click Rapid Spin and be faster than your entire team. And it's Tatsugiri is I think a slept-on threat. With Crocodile and for Alligator already having those are like the main guys you see. But I think Tatsugiri could put in a lot of work too.
For sure. Um. Austin's team, yeah. So I'm obviously really high on Austin. I'm trying to do like a chart here also. Austin's team, I'm really high on. I actually worked with Austin. Maybe this is why I'm so high on it, right? But I worked on Austin a lot with maybe this like Obama down portion of the draft, right? He came to me for quite a bit of help, and we talked through a lot of stuff. The Golem was a bit of a fun of at the end there. But outside of that guy, man, I think it's so good. Like we were saying, AJ's
Mm-hmm.
with the Obama here. So I think here's something about Feraligatr. I think this is a Pokemon that takes over the game in the blink of an eye. One Dragon
One DD.
Dance, one DD is a monster. Two DDs ends games. If you get to DD twice with this thing, it can sweep you on the
You
fucking
can switch Spirit
spot.
Force, Life Orb, you can't switch into that
It
Pokemon.
kills
You physically
everything.
can.
So if he gets to go, if you're not ready for just like Abomasnow turn one with Veil and getting into Feraligatr, dude, you're fucking dead. You are dead. You're dead, man. He also has the best Pokemon in the draft, in my opinion. Maybe outside of Petrarch, it's like neck and neck for me, man. Crocodile, crazy
So
fucking
versatile.
Pokemon. Same deal there. It can scale shot up. Obviously, he's got the webs that maybe he doesn't need to run the scale shot set, but it's got Moxie with a scarf or scale shot or some shit.
Mhm.
Same deal, man. He can get going behind these screens. I think he gets bulk up. Like he's got these. Hang on. Krook.
I know. I was about to look it up on.
Yeah, he does have bulk up. So he's got setup, man, and he's gonna fucking end the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
just
agree. I really, I really do like Austin's team. I think
I have it
it's a
higher
good
than you
mix.
guys, right? What would you guys have
Oh,
Austin
three
at?
to be
3.
fair. So
I have
it's
it. I
like
have it at 2. I have it at 2. So it's right there.
he was off rip. So you know how I told you like off rip I did
Hmm.
a team. You know I did like a starting 9. He was
Yeah.
like 1 off the rip.
No.
So
For sure. I mean, I I'll say this for sure. Looking at these picks right now, the first 3 picks, maybe it's a meme or not. I think it is hilarious that it's 3 crocodiles, and that was the jokey thing. But I think he did a good job with it, and they fucking rock, man. They fucking rock. They are nutso Pokemon, I think. So I don't know. We'll see if Ryan's right about Austin on here. Obviously, me and AJ are quite a bit higher than you, but unsure. Can you guys tell me where you had Austin real quick?
5.
Thank you. AJ had it at 3, right?
Sorry.
You're
What
good.
happened?
You're
I
good.
missed it.
You're good. You have Austin at 3.
Yep.
I'm trying to like do a. If you guys look in the playoff stat thing
Wait,
here.
I had Austin at 6. Sorry, I had Austin at 6.
Okay, that's fine. If you look in the playoff
Just type
stat,
shit in.
yeah. Do what you have talked, what we've talked about so far, and we'll keep going here. But the next spot that we were kind of talking about is still in 3, right? Because AJ, you had something different than me.
No, 3 was my Austin. The difference I had was me at 5, I believe, is what.
You have 5. I don't know who you have left. This is poor,
At
but
2 I have Ian. I'll say that. Maybe that helps.
how
I
about
also have 2 at Ian.
okay? What I'm gonna do right now is we're gonna everybody just go through them real quick here. Let's just take fill your thing in real quick.
Who's the next? Ian is literally next, anyways. Of who we haven't talked about
Just
yet.
fill your whole thing in for me, would you?
Done.
Where is this? Am I stupid?
Playoff stats.
Yep. Okay, so Ian, we'll talk about next. I have Ian at 1. For what it's worth.
Yeah, he was there for a bit.
It's just
He
Keegan at
was
1.
So
Dang.
does Ryan. Oh, me and Ryan
Okay,
are
okay. Keegan's big ups. He's gonna be grinning from this one, dude. His question is Keegan top 4. I'm sleeping on Keegan, I guess, because both you guys had him at 1. That's elite. Okay, but we'll go Ian next. I have him at 1. Both you guys have him at 2. Obviously, a really good player. He won his first season, second place in the next one, and he's drafted a really good team here. More Pico out of nowhere, by the way. I didn't even know this was a real thing. Um,
Oh,
Ian and me have, I think, the most defensive teams in the league.
Yeah, 100%.
Ooh, somebody.
Do that mode.
Yeah,
I did it.
there we go.
You got
So somebody else start. You guys both have him at 1. I have him a little bit
He
lower.
wrote- he- so
Or
his
I have.
Sarah Ledge, it sounded like Sarah Ledge was his obviously first pick.
Right. That's the
what he's
build
building
around. Yeah.
That's what he's doing, and he did pretty well, I would say, doing that.
Yeah.
Obviously, double regenerator, a lot of like ground immunities.
Correct.
Um,
Flygon, Cryogonal, Tornadus, Uxie. 4.
Just it seems obviously like he's gonna set up for Sarah Ledge to carry games.
Yep.
And I also think Tornadus Incarnate is a
Crazy
bonkers
Pokemon.
That is like a crazy pick to get that late. I think it's really, really nice. That was on my radar for a while. But
Obviously, the 2s was a little bit skewed because those went quick, so then it's like
yeah.
a little odd.
I think Flygon is a nice 3 as well. I don't know. I think the one Pokemon I think maybe is getting over, maybe just by him, but maybe by others too. I don't think Bisharp is all that good.
I think Bisharp's terrible. I think
Bisharp kind of sucks.
he drafted it. So here we go. I'll thumbnail me. Faker. He's back. Here he is. He's fake. He doesn't get the Terra. Go ahead and click Mach Punch. It will die. It's always faster than him. It doesn't matter what your stat is. It doesn't matter what his stat is. He dies to every Mach Punch ever clicked. Go quote me on that one. That's fine. Vacuum Wave works too. Don't give a fuck. It dives to fighting type moves. Anywho.
Yeah. No, but like just a lot of good defensive Pokemon. Amoonguss. Alomomola, I think, is just an egregious Pokemon.
It's so fucking dumb at 4, honestly. I mean, it only does one thing, but it does it the best.
Who cares? Yeah,
It
that's
does it the
good.
best. I mean, it's like the best fucking Wish Pass Pokemon maybe in the league, man, and it's
Yeah.
4 points. It's outlandish, I think. So really smart for him there when the Warriors are going in 2 points to snap that thing up at right off the bat, even though it is four. Um,
Yeah.
no,
Maybe it's just because I haven't like taken a deep look into all of these teams, but I look at his team. I don't see like a super hard, glaring
no, I mean
weakness.
he took the most time, I would say, which no fault to him when you're going to draft a fucking excellent team to set yourself up for success. I mean, Ian drafts really well. That's what he said this time is he was going to sit down and draft a really good team. I thought that's been his strongest aspect almost in these other two or in the last two drafts he did is that he drafts really well and he gives himself an easy time in the season by setting himself up right now in this draft. I have been one obviously a little bit higher than you guys here, and I just think in a similar vein to my team. So the biggest difference here, I think, right, between our teams were maybe comparable, and even Ian and me were trading like ideas in the draft a little bit, and like thinking about picking the same things, and we were like saying, I like your team, he likes my team, whatever. And he drafted on Sarah Ledge, and I drafted on Haunter. So maybe that's the biggest difference there, right? Tier 5
Yeah, a
versus
little
Tier
bit
1
different. Yeah.
of this like ghost type sweeping Pokemon. That could be a big deal. Um, but we'll see about that. But I really like Ian's team, and that's probably why I have him a little bit higher than you guys too, because he did the same kind of theme that I did, right? But maybe he did it a little bit better. I think he covered his weaknesses better than I did for sure. Um, I think I should have drafted fucking Uxie. God damn it.
Yeah.
Over goddamn Garganackle. I needed that for the ground resist heavily and the fighting resist obviously, right? The two things that we named that were bad for my team. So that of course sucks. That's what I originally wanted to, and he talked me out of it. So good for him on that one. You played me. Man, is Ian's team good? Holy cow.
Yeah, I really like it. I don't really see an issue with it at all. Is like kind of the main thing. Is like I think it's gonna be really defensive. It's gonna be really annoying, and he has again those setup sweepers. And like you said, Zach, I think Sarah Ledge is just gonna be a lot better than Haunter.
It
It
doesn't
could
it can
be,
set up himself is the thing, right?
yeah.
It doesn't need all the support. It can just do it.
And we've been shit talking Visharp, which I agree. You can put a freaking fighting move into it, and it's gonna be an issue. But he's got a lot of fighting resist.
He does. He
Defense
does. So
defense for
that
sure.
is the thing. You just on his team, you can just switch out on the fighting type moves. It doesn't actually matter. So you're not gonna catch him off guard on that, of course. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
I
Obviously,
think Bisharp will be one of those Pokemon where it'll show up a couple times if like Sucker Punch is needed,
it's
but it's
certainly
not
not
gonna
gonna
be
be every
not gonna be
week
scary. Yeah.
domination like it was 2 seasons
With the
ago.
Tera Fairy.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think Diancie was also kind of the next thing that I
I
looked at that was a
love
little bit out of
Diancie.
left field.
Really, I
Very
loved
good
it.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Very good Pokemon still, but like to me, those were like the two that I looked at that said, what are these doing together? Like what was it happening in this draft?
What isn't
Um,
Diancie doing?
you're not wrong, but yeah, I mean, I had him at two. I think he's the second best team.
Yeah, I mean,
Ian is obviously one of the best in our league. Made back-to-back finals. Um, won one of them as well. So I think I look at it where maybe I don't know what Tornadus Eye does too much. I know it's fast. I know it attacks.
Attacks. It's
I know
attacker mainly.
it attacks well. I know it has Defiant and Prankster, which Prankster could be good at some points too. But um, I, I I think with his last two picks where he had the whole two board, I thought maybe it could have gone a little better. I think Uxie was great. I'm not and this could just be me not knowing what Tornadus does. Um, Morpeko seemed like he didn't have a like an electric type, and that was like
So here's the thing. Have you looked at what Morpeko does yet?
yeah, it like changes stances every turn, and
You
it
know,
goes from like
take a look halfway closer here. This Pokemon's actually nuts. I was caught out of left field by this thing here, man. I don't know. I think it's actually insane. It gets the plot up if it wants to. It gets knock. It gets parting shot. Just in case you didn't know that one, it gets volt. So it's got two different ways to do it. Man, this Pokemon is a beast. It gets the speed boost with its signature
oh, I
move.
didn't
yes,
even know it got rid of
Aura
the
Wheel
spin.
is a disgusting move.
Or gives you a speed boost. It's so crazy.
It's a
Well,
110 base power move. Stab both times gives you a speed boost. By the
it's
way,
it's so good. And you get to it was kind of up for debate if this was a good thing or a bad thing. When you Terra it, it stays in the mode. So if if electric doesn't look good, make sure you Terra it when it's the hangry mode, so that you keep this big dark type stab move, right? And if the electric looks good, you do the opposite, right? So
It's
it's
a
just
fun thing, but it could be hard to play around.
I think it's gonna be hard for him to use. It might fuck him up sometimes. It might be really good sometimes. So
It has a really good speed though. I didn't realize it at
it
97.
yeah,
Mm.
97 is really
That's really
good.
nice.
Not a lot of
And
bulk,
it gets
obviously. It
boosted.
will die to stuff, but it also gets rapid spin. By the way,
Yep.
this Pokemon does a lot of crazy stuff. Honestly,
Has some good coverage too. Ice Fang.
Fang's bad. I'm not a believer in the elemental fangs and punches myself. Outside of maybe your Pokemon, Palmot, Iron Fist Pokemons can be real, but
Yeah, Golurk, baby.
you have two actually. Ryan has two and AJ has one. There you go. There you go. That's fun. That's fun. But I think Morpico's crazy. It really caught me off guard. Didn't know it was a real thing at all. He definitely could have sat on that one instead of waiting for 8 hours today. But or drafted it right away instead of waiting for 8 hours. But that's okay. No worries there. I just got Ian's list in. Kind of fun here.
Let's.
But let's finish ours here. Keegan. So I have Keegan quite a bit lower than you guys. You both have him at 1. I have him at 5 here. Okay. I'm gonna start because I'm the oddball out, right? So I thought in the first 4 drafts or the first 4 picks, we had a pause in days here, and we went through and we looked at stuff, and I liked Keegan and AJ's actually were my favorite first 4 picks. I thought as a four Pokemon team, you two are the best looking team. Um, but as the draft went down, I of the opinion thought Keegan's draft did as well. You guys not so much. He drafted uh, one of the best. The first 4 Pokemon are crazy, right? Okay, so that I'll just suck their dick for a second here. Staraptor's really sick. Big button clicker. Poor Noah here got both his Pokemon taken. Cry him a river if you want to. Swampert is crazy nuts. Pokemon that I wanted, I thought he would have went crazy with Fortress. They both cover each other's quad weakness. Um, and there's not any Pokemon in the draft outside of Scoville that gets to click fire and grass moves. Not a real fact, but that's my guess. Uh, Regieleki is the fastest Pokemon in the draft, of course. I've used it. It was insane. It got to Terra, as did everything in that league, so I got workarounds. But you do have to bring your ground type into Keegan. That is the law, actually. So sucks for you, Riley. You actually lost to him, unfortunately. You have Kill Watcher. Maybe you're okay. But Quagsire is like a bad ground type. So if you drafted a bad ground type, you're in fucking trouble against this guy, dude. Because Regieleki is nutso. Sinistcha Pokemon I like a lot. I drink a lot of tea. I love those Pokemon. It's fun. Um, really annoying too. Hard to break.
Annoying Pokemon.
Super annoying. But the rest of his draft, I mean, I had Tinkaton on my original board. I thought that was good. I had the chance to draft it, but it didn't really fit. Uh, Umbreon won a championship last season, but I think it didn't get prepared for too well in the 3 finals games. Not to discredit Ryan, but I think myself included could have done a little better. I think it's a little bit passive of a Pokemon personally. Uh, we'll see about that. I liked the Noivern and the Bombardier. Gave him a little bit more oomph on the attacking. Something that I thought he was starting to creep away from. I think Levani's terrible, but that's just me.
Oh, Leavani's good.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm sure you guys will sing his praises here in a second.
I'm not gonna sing it that hard. It's
Sure.
not
Okay.
pretty.
Here's the thing that I will say about his team here. Okay. Newer player, and I think this about myself also, and I mentioned it earlier about Noah's team as well. Uh, these defensive Pokemon that don't get to pivot for free, Sinistcha, Galarian, Slowbro, Tinkaton,
Yeah.
are harder to use.
Okay, but now we're not talking about best teams. We're talking about final order. You know, like
I'm talking hard to use, but I think that applies to everybody though, Ryan. I don't
It
think
does.
it totally does. I think that's a part of the draft. I think Swampert
Yeah.
is better than Slowbro, not exclusively because of the typing or anything than that, because Flip Turn is fucking good as shit, and there you go. So I think that's a part of the draft of his draft that I'm not the biggest fan of there. I like that he picked up these Noivern and Bombardier to cover this. Otherwise, relatively he had a couple Pokemon that are weak to an Earthquake. He's got 3. But Regieleki is. I'll say this also though. Regieleki almost a fake spinner. Okay, maybe not really, but
No,
I don't know, man.
That thing's gonna die if it clicks Rapid Spin. If you have like an offensive Pokemon
AJ,
and it
I
clicks
tried clicking
Rapid
Rabbit Spin with that
Spin,
thing, and it does die. And he has Staraptor, Noivern, Bombardier on his team, Blaziken also, and
Noivern learns defog. I'm sure maybe some one of the other ones do too. It's not like he has no
I
other
do
way to
know
get rid of
Noivern
it.
does.
sure,
I don't know
okay,
if the other ones do.
those are not Pokemon. Yes, Hulucha does too, and Noah had it
Hulucha
last
is very
season.
good at being a utility Pokemon. I know
Okay,
that's not necessarily what it's known for, but
I believe you. Not a Pokemon that I have too much knowledge on, but I guess this maybe that's why I have him lower. I thought that was a pretty big thing, but you guys can sing his praises now.
I mean, I'm just gonna say what I look at a lot of his Staraptor's scary Pokemon. I think Noivern's a really good, versatile, scary Pokemon. Bombardier clicks
Yep.
really hard. Blaziken can be very scary. I know it doesn't have speed boost, but the mixed attacking is scary. Sinistcha, annoying ass tanking Pokemon. I think Regieleki. I wanted to pick Regieleki if I didn't go Raikou. I think this Pokemon's a freak show.
Yeah, I mean it's
Like
obviously
that
crazy.
kid, like, but like I don't know, man. I literally Golurk. A lot of my thing was like
Hmm.
Regieleki cannot hit. Literally cannot hit this Pokemon.
That's true. That's a big deal.
Literally cannot hit it.
Oh,
And it's like,
what a huge mistake right then from from fucking I was bashing Quagsire and then there are two ghost ground types in that tier and and the Palisand would have been draftable also. Oh man.
yeah, literally can't hit it. But I don't know. I like Tinkaton. I think Tinkaton's really slept on Pokemon too. Umbreon is just annoying and does its job really well. I just like I really like his offensive Pokemon and I really like his defensive Pokemon. I don't see like there's not like a single Pokemon in this draft that I do not like. Like I like every single one. Galarian Slowbro is probably my least favorite one, and it's not even a bad Pokemon.
Clarence was
No,
kind of sick.
I agree with a lot of what you say, AJ just said. I think he got some of the best Pokemon in each of the tiers, and I don't know how he did that. I feel like Tinkaton was one of the best 3 tiers, and he got it in like the middle of the draft. Fantastic Pokemon. I've got a boner for Blaziken, obviously. Um, and I think he has Regieleki, who is like great at also setting screens,
Yep.
right?
It's true. It's true.
And he's got a lot of Pokemon that can sit behind those screens and do very well. I think Bombardier is one of them. I think Staraptor is one of them. I think Blaziken's one of them, right? That can go in there, set up, and do well. And then Leavanny, who it's not just a sticky webber. I think this is also going to be able to click moves.
Is that
But
real?
yes,
Is that a
it has
fact?
like 100 base
No.
attack stats.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nine. I'll just give you some.
I have it pulled up. I have it pulled up, AJ. You're good.
But like 103 attack, 92 whatever speed, which is pretty great for this.
Has
Great
sword
move pool,
stance,
knockoff,
has
triple
triple
axle,
axle.
poison jab.
Yeah,
It can,
it's got
it's
good moves.
it's really versatile.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's a Pokemon that I didn't know
it's
about that well, so that's fair.
it's
Oh,
good.
I think every single one of his Pokemon were good. That was my main thing. I think Galarian Slowbro will be the toughest for him to use, but I still think it's a
Agreed.
really good Pokemon. I think he picked it exclusively because Shuckle King just swept on it with Belly Drum. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, did he bring Belly Drum? That's so sick. I was so tempted to bring Belly Drum on Slowking last season.
Yep, yep. He brought Belly Drum and literally killed all 6 of his Pokemon.
Wow.
Nice quick draws.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
But yeah, so I think that might have been a reason why I took it, but I still think it's a really good Pokemon.
It is really good.
And he's got those good defensive Pokemon that work with each other. He's got the good offensive ones. He's going to be able to do different sets with every single one of them, and I think that's what makes it really hard. I don't know. I look at his team and I say they're all great Pokemon and they all work together well. And I also give it an extra pump because of Umbreon. I know you've got a boner for hating this Pokemon, but there's a reason I won finals and Umbreon was because of it. Yeah, maybe people didn't prep for it perfectly, but Noah tried to, right?
Yeah,
Noah looked at his team.
I don't disagree with
He
that.
had an answer for it exclusively.
It didn't work that well. No, I agree.
It didn't work well.
I needed to bring Calm Mind on Raging Bolt, and then that beat it 1v1. That was a huge issue, and
So,
then I think it was.
And Pokemon.
Yes, I understand. Okay,
I
yes.
think Umbreon's gonna fuck again. Like
God bless.
hard again. It's gonna be
Also,
tough.
really like the amount of turners. They're fast turners for the most part.
Yes,
He
which is
has
good. Which is good.
A lot
Yeah.
of them. And
1,
that
2,
is
3,
important.
4.
1, 2,
5. Does Levani probably get
Third.
6? Probably Levani,
5.
yeah, 6. 6 I count.
Levani actually does not get
Oh, alright.
fun fact.
Well, good enough.
But Bombardier does too.
Yeah.
It's like, and BP on Blaziken, I know it's a weird BP, but he does have it if he needs to use it.
He also has U-turn.
Baton pass.
Oh, does
Ryan, not bullet
does have-
punch.
I'm pretty
does have
sure
U-turn.
Blaziken.
Really? I feel like that's a guy that wouldn't get U-turn.
He
Well,
does have U-turn.
alright, God bless.
I was gonna say there's no way.
So, I love
looked
that.
at this
All
Pokemon.
these attacking Pokemon that can threaten whatever he brings it on in
Yep.
can also turn off of it and get momentum that
Which
way.
is really sick.
good.
That is really good, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I have him as the best team, and I think he is. It is the best team. But Keegan's still new. I think he did a lot of learning.
For sure.
But I don't think he's gonna win it. Is my thing at the end of the day.
I think he is gonna win it.
I'm really excited to see how he plays this team. I think he's gonna definitely get more than his 0 wins. Like
I would
by
agree.
I hope
by a
so.
good amount. I'd be surprised if he doesn't make playoffs with this team. And the amount of like effort that he's put into learning Pokemon Draft.
Totally.
So I'm excited to see that for sure.
Okay, the last team I believe here, as when I just give a quick glance and everything, I believe the last team is AJ's that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, we haven't talked about AJ.
I have AJ at 3. AJ has AJ at 5. Ryan has it at 3 also. So in classic AJ fashion, he puts himself a little lower. We put himself a little higher. Not quite on the high horse that Ryan and me put him last season. I believe we
that was
both
brutal.
put him at 1, really set him up for failure like that.
Yeah.
So good for us in that regard there. But AJ, let's start with you on your team here.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of talked about it before, kind of the gist, but I just think it really all comes down, this team, the way I built it, to how I play. And I know that's not necessarily how we're doing this, but it kind of is. Because, like, this team has nothing really going together in the slightest bit of anything. No synergy at all. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good start.
I think the Pokemon are good enough to win by themselves, but I think it could be hard.
You did draft Dipplin after all.
Yeah, but I think I agree with what you said. My first 4 picks were lights out. I think they were great. I think after that they were.
It's harder to pick better ones at the end, but yeah.
I think Hitmonlee was actually a good pivot. I didn't have him originally. I really like Hitmonlee.
All the Hitmons got drafted. Fun thing.
Last is pretty good, but I don't know. I have no fairy type. I think it could be an issue.
Me neither, bud. All 3 of us
Steel
don't have a
type, I
fairy
think, could
type.
be an issue.
That we've got you covered on.
Fairy types are fake when you don't have a good dragon type.
I don't know. I think I'm just like a very middle of the road team. It's like a good team, but it's got like nothing going together. So it's all going to come down to play, and I think that's very middle of the road.
Ryan, you go next and do something.
AJ's team. I really liked Raikou. I think that's one
Broken
of my
Pokemon.
favorite tier 1 Pokemon. Has Scald to deal with those nasty ground types that want to click into it, and fantastic speed tier. I think that Pokemon's gonna be really tough. I realistically kind of picked Dugtrio, who I thought had Arena Trap for this Pokemon.
That's fucking.
Funny as shit.
That is funny.
Because I outsped it, and I could click a Terra that wouldn't get hit by Scald and just Oko it, because it's got a bad defense.
That's so fucked though, because then, oh, that actually sounds lost regardless. No, obviously it'd be scary to click Volt Switch into it, but he just clicks.
Oko it. If Terra Ground Earthquake.
Are you faster?
So
Are you faster?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
faster.
okay, you're okay, sure.
So that was kind of my
Sure, coming on the electric move and then kill it. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so I think your team is good, AJ. I agree with you where it is like I think I mentioned mine, and then who else? Noah. I didn't say. I forgot who.
Yeah, no, Noah's team and Riley's team are the like anti-synergy ones. Not like anti, but like lower.
And myself, obviously. But yeah, I think
I
you
do
drafted good Pokemon. I think
Diplin's crazy, bro. Diplin's crazy.
You're gassing this thing up. I'm
It's a
ready
good
for it to do
Pokemon.
nothing.
Dude,
I don't think that's
I
possible.
played
is Diplin AJ?
Diplin.
Is he cosplaying as him? We're all gassing him up, and then he doesn't
Yeah,
do anything. Who knows?
Season 2 when I drafted Diplin, AJ,
Ryan,
when
think
we
about
were
what we're doing here, man.
Ryan,
Think about what we're doing here. We're in a low tier draft. It's completely
true.
different.
was it a Terra Captain in your team, Ryan, or no?
It was, yeah.
Did you even like realize that you can do
I
Sticky
don't
Hold of
think the
Violites?
Grapple was out yet, which means no Eviolite.
No, I could.
monster
I could
difference. I
hold.
mean, that's
I
obviously like.
could
Oh, you
hold
could.
Eviolite. Yep, because
Oh, okay.
that was a huge thing, and that was one of the things why people. Because it was after the first game, and people were like, "Wait, there's this Diplin that can hold Eviolite and it works. That means that Pokemon's about to give it an evolution," and then they did. So, positive it was that. I think it's just the offensive types don't cover well for steel.
Your mic's doing something weird.
Me?
Better.
Go ahead.
Anything better?
Yep,
Okay.
much
Yeah,
better.
that's better.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a really good Terra Captain nonetheless. One of the best defensive ones, I think.
I think the
Yeah.
best
Still
defensive
click,
one.
still click growth and things like that. If you want to be a little bit more offensive, right? It's not going to be in
Yeah.
the sun. Like,
Could be. I got
Could
plenty of
be.
growth.
Who knows?
yeah,
I've clicked Sunny Day.
I also
yeah.
the way that I do build my cores well when I do this is what I would like to say.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't do synergies, I make sure I at least have
The
the
typings and
cores
whatnot. Yeah.
fairly built up, like Hitmonlee, Meloetta, Incineroar, Shaman, Blastoise. You know, it's like I get it. I get it that way. I don't necessarily do like play style
Yeah.
synergies.
Which is reasonable. Gives you, I think, some room to kind of figure it out and move and
Yeah,
be a little bit more free maybe in your game plan.
yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what here. I want to be proven wrong by this, but I think everybody was really high on Pyroar, and I think this Pokemon is not cool or
I
not
think
I was
not.
this
thinking the same
Pokemon
thing.
is very good.
All right. Well,
I was thinking the same
you
thing.
can prove us
But I
wrong
agree. Prove me wrong.
on that. You do have Incineroar, a Pokemon who you're gonna start playing in Smash, is my guess. I said it the other day. But I think that's
Nope.
no. Okay. God
I
bless.
hate.
He's terrible, right? But I hate him. But Click's Parting Shot, the best move in the game. I fucking hate that move. Not actually, but
Incineroar is so good.
Incineroar is so good, bro. I mean, Goat doubles Pokemon, and Tim plus fucking Parting Shot is unequivocally gay. I'll go ahead and say that right off the bat there. Man, do I hate that shit. That is so annoying. But
No, it's
I like that you got a couple of these really like AJ Pokemon. I like that you kind of stuck away from uh the trap of tier 2 in your in for you.
Breloom. Oh my god.
Breloom,
Imagine
Tox
Breloom instead of Shaman, by the way. It's just significantly worse.
comedy, like Toxtricity, Breloom,
Low kick.
low kicks,
Low
Chandelure,
I
kick's
think low
good, to be
kick's
fair.
good.
Low kick's good.
Low kicks is good, but it was like all these AJ just got was like overloaded on like AJ Pokemon in tier 2, and he
Imagine low kicks plus Breloom like tier 2. My team is just dog shit. My
yeah,
team's just awful.
you have to reach a lot harder on what they'd be replacing. But I like your team a lot. I love Golar, Pokemon that I have a pretty big
Golurk is so
boner
good. He's
for.
John.
I love regular Weezing also. I love
Actually my favorite, one of my favorite picks of the year.
love regular Weezing. Same deal that I love regular Muck. Obviously, I'm the guy now that's drafted both of Alolan Muck and Galarian Weezing, and I have a huge crush on their babies because man, I love regular Weezing and I love regular Muck. I probably love regular Muck a little better with the Terra, but Weezing rather is so good. Love the neutralizing gas on that guy. Love all the different things it can do. Excited to see what you get going with that guy.
Yeah.
I like your draft quite a bit. I think that I like you're saying with your cores, they all fit really well together, and Diplin is gonna take over the league. Who knows?
Yeah,
Uh,
for real.
if you guys want to, I did this kind of in secrecy here, even to the viewers. I did it on my phone. I have Ian's picks in for tiers here. If you go to the playoff stat area,
Oh wow, I was shafted.
um, kind of interesting here. Ian has got himself at 1, so he agrees with me. Noah out of nowhere at 2. We all had Noah super duper low. Me at 3, so I'm a little bit higher from everybody. Ryan quite a bit higher. Keegan much lower than you guys put. Austin a lot lower. And then Riley pretty similar. But AJ and Noah basically kind of like almost flip flopped in up and down area. So Ian he's another believer in the defensive agenda like me. He's got me and him super high, and I'd love to hear what he thinks about Noah's team because none of us were that impressed with it. But pretty cool stuff there with Ian's picks. It's interesting to have kind of an outside mind on the agenda. He went a lot more in depth for what it's worth
Yeah, definitely.
on these picks, so we'll have to see here about what he says. But
I like the
Is
Jackson, Jackson,
crazy.
Jackson, Jackson, by the way.
Actually, holy moly, that's the big one to me. I think.
I do think I'm gonna be honest. I think he took more than just team into account here.
There's a there that could be the case.
And I think he has negative faith in my gameplay ability. So there's
Well,
I
you,
think Riley and Jackson being top or bottom 7 is funny, personally. Um, for all 4 of us.
yeah, I mean, I think
they have
they are
they don't
easily
have the
my
best
two
they
least
don't have the best
favorite.
teams,
So
so
yeah,
it makes
they're
sense,
easily
right?
my two least favorite.
Um.
No flame though.
Okay, so then similar to what you're saying here, Ian might have considered playing wise, and then Ryan, it seemed like you even did a straight up player wise for thing here. What do you guys think about season wise? Who's gonna be doing the best? Is it gonna be similar to what Ian wrote here? Is it gonna be similar to
Yeah.
what to
See,
what to what you guys
Well,
wrote
I
here?
got him up
I
in
didn't write it at all, so I'm just gonna hear. I just want to listen to you guys on this shit.
I had Ian first, I
Okay.
think, instead of Keegan. My main thing was Keegan went down a decent amount of spots. I think his not playing in draft is gonna show as a little bit. Um, but for the most part, that was it. I had myself making playoffs. I think I can make playoffs with my current team.
Hope so.
And then I had Austin, who I think has a good team. I have him lower. I think I had him at like 8 or 7.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
But
I think
you had him lower than AJ and me though also.
yes,
So
I think he's just and I think he's only been playing like stall, right? And if he ends up playing a super offensive team or a team that has these screens or anything like that, right?
I've seen the man
Then
misplay, that's for sure.
yeah, I think he's not the greatest Pokemon player in our 9 stack, and that will cost him. So I have Jackson, Austin, and Riley missing playoffs. I think Riley doesn't prep too much. Um, and
and
that's also why I have
if
him
he
down there.
loses 1 or 2 in a row or gets some weird
Yeah,
cheese,
yeah,
he checks out.
yeah.
So
Yep, for sure. So that
um,
I had those 3 as my bottom 3, and then
I'm
like
close.
playoffs wise, I think are super close and similar.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
it's worth even seeding the
No,
teams.
no way.
I think so. I have Riley and Jackson missing.
Yeah.
And then I guess not. I'm pretty similar to my rank. I think Ryan does not make. I think
Wow.
I think
I
maybe
can't wait to keep your
Epic.
ass in the regular
Epic
season,
take. Epic
AJ.
I
take.
think that's my hot take for the season. That's usually what the
Epic.
hot takes for. That's my hot take.
Epic
Is
take. Holy fuck.
Ryan does not make the playoffs. I think maybe he struggles a little bit to find his footing as a true Pokemon player.
Wow. A lot of talk coming from AJ, that's for sure.
Hey,
Holy
listen though,
the
I've only played Sun. I completely understand it. I think I've just even the times where I haven't played Sun in the regular season, I think I've done pretty well. Where I've brought these teams that don't have Ninetales or Torkoal and have won more
Yes,
than
I
that.
agree.
So
But I
that's
also
why
think
I'm
having also not only for your for you going to fall back on Sun, it's really hard for people not to prep for Sun. So when there's not Sun to prep for, it becomes a lot easier to prep for you. Because it's like
that's fair.
when we're prepping for you in the past seasons, it's like okay, we have to make sure
you have to be the Sun
like
team and the
proto
other
this,
team.
proto this, proto this, and I never worried about a non-Sun team against you. I'm gonna be honest, I never did. I only prep Sun. If you didn't bring a Sun team, then it was probably Raps. But I think you not having that is a little bit easier for people than to prep for you
That's
too.
fair. That's fair. Because that was another reason why I would not bring Sun. As I said, this person's definitely thinking about my
Absolutely.
proto
Yeah.
speed walking wake that I don't
Yeah.
think looks good here, so I'm just gonna leave it out and do something completely different. So
Yeah.
I get that. I don't think it's outlandish. I could see myself being that borderline 7, 6 seed if I don't find my footing. But I'm confident in myself. I think that I will prep a
I
good
think
amount.
if you had been more confident in your draft, I would be more confident
That's fair.
in you. But you have seemed a little bit hesitant with what happened and how you got sniped a lot, where it makes me also then be like, he wasn't confident in his draft, and then he has to do this and try and play no Sun. It could be a recipe for bad news.
Fair.
No flame though,
I think
very very obviously you could make it and I could miss and it should be like whatever. It's just
you're
it's
talking.
it's gonna be very close.
You're talking to the season 3 Pokemon champ here.
That's true. That's true.
We all know I'm good.
Alrighty. Alrighty there.
No,
Holy cow.
I agree with you. I'm not. I didn't like my team when I drafted it. I think was the main thing, but I think it'll be fine. Is kind of my end plan here.
Okay, last little tidbit here, and then we got the season 4 wrap up going. Have you guys peeked on the schedule at all? No, it hasn't changed or anything, but
Okay, I peaked week 1. I peaked week 1.
yeah. So Ryan, you have Riley. AJ has Jackson. I have Austin week 1. And then Noah and Ian could be a huge matchup, especially if Ian thinks they're 1 and 2 together. So that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. I think all of us would probably favor Ian substantially,
I
but
do think also they're probably the two inherently
yeah,
best
yeah, I agree. I
players.
agree. That's been shown.
Noah always seems to have not that great of teams, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, yeah,
Just
he
the way
doesn't
that he
he
preps for
doesn't
drafts.
he doesn't draft the hardest. That's
But
for
he
sure.
always does,
But
not always, but
but
like
he
he's good.
pulls it through with the gameplay for sure. So pretty interesting first weeks here. I am excited to play against Austin. Obviously
Gleezing.
eight.
I want a Gleezing.
There you go. God bless. Revenge week for Gleezing here is too funny. AJ has Jackson's opener of our league, which is pretty interesting there, and Ryan has Riley. So maybe both of you guys have what might be an easier matchup in the week, and then you both had, or we all had Austin pretty darn high, so maybe I'll have a little bit tougher time. But should be pretty fun. It's going to start in a good while here yet. Of course, we're still like 2 weeks out of that, but man, it should be cool. I'm excited we got this. I'm excited we got this draft done. It's been fun these last couple days. Super different with a multi-day kind of like fun sort of thing. It's been like a few nights in a row where it's just been like hanging out in Discord and talking only Pokemon, and it's been super exciting. And really excited about this low tier draft, something that I've been wanting for a while, especially. And I'm glad that it's come to fruition, and it should be quite good. I'm thinking so.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Jack, you will be missed, I believe, is what it seems like.
Yeah.
But outside of that guy, man, we got an all-star lineup, and
Absolutely.
it's gonna be quite good. So there we go. We have our last little thing here of me showing the stats again, and we'll see what the fuck happens. Man, should
Yo.
be good. Thanks guys for coming on. And we'll see you
No
in season.
problemo.
We'll see you in week 1, huh? All right.
Yeah.